that really asked the question, have we had a plan to win or a plan to fail? And what Mr. Roberts observed and asked all of us is, does it really make sense to just continue to be closing schools, losing enrollment, cutting programs, and then what do you do the following year? You lost more students, so you cut more programs and you close more schools. Not really a plan to win. So we engaged in a strategic planning process involving ultimately 600 stakeholders from all aspects of the community, educators, principals, students, parents, clergy, business leaders, media, and began to think about what it would take to, in effect, grow the business. Not something that we often talk about in the public sector, but growing the business. Bringing back programs such as some of those that you mentioned, we'll talk about those, I'm sure, in more detail. But really saying to parents, what is it that you want? What is it that we maybe have had to cut over the years that we should bring back? The fact of the matter is that out of every 100 families in the city of Detroit, 42 are currently choosing Detroit Public Schools. So it's a market share issue, Frank. It's a basic business marketing market share issue. And we know that by moving that market share just several points, we can enroll or re-enroll or interest thousands of more students. We know we have good programs. We know we need to create opportunities for the parents and the students to come in and actually see what's behind those doors. And that's what we've been busy to all spring and summertime.
Steve, during the break, we were talking about new schools that are opening, and new schools that are opening right here in our neighborhood in Midtown Detroit that many people may not even know about.
And actually not just new schools, but just some rebranded schools as well as new programs across the district. We were talking about just yesterday evening, a few blocks away, we held a picnic and a barbecue and an enrollment fair for what we've named the DPS Midtown Community of Schools. We know that this neighborhood is one of the most growing and thriving, and new families moving in and having babies and having to make decisions about where to send those children in a few years or sooner as well. And there are actually three great, really exceptional and very different pre-K through 8 Detroit Public Schools right in the Midtown neighborhood. Golightly Education Center, Spain School, and Burton International. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure that, and we had a great turnout over at Golightly for this event last night as well. One of the things we wanted to show is that a number of these schools have some great, really exciting after-school enrichment programs. Burton International has a pool. Spain has a performing arts program and a full showcase of that. Golightly has some really interesting programs like archery and gardening and that sort of thing. And what we said to the parents is we're going to create a new after-school bus loop for the enrichment programs. If your child attends one of the schools, you'll have at your avail the programs of any of the 3 schools to choose from for an hour after school. Really great opportunity, and we hope brought some attention to those schools.
Now, if people want to just go to a website, take a look, are all of these different schools listed? Can they do that?
Our website is constantly updated, DetroitK12.org, but more importantly than that, our doors are always open, and I think we all recognize that a parent's going to make that important, precious decision about the future of where to send their child to school based on going into the school. And we've really been spending a lot of time this summer with a lot of help, I should say, from our principals and our teachers on a voluntary basis, going door to door, inviting parents to come into the schools, which we opened up early during August for people to come in and see. You're going to want to meet the principal, shake the hands of the teachers, kick the tires, see the culture and the attitude in the school, check out the technology, is it clean, does it feel safe, all these things. And we've opened the doors and we welcome people in. People have been coming in very great numbers over these last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact.
A phone number, too. Can people call any way that they can just kind of reach out right now? They're listening to us or anything. This is really interesting. I'd like to learn more. What phone number that people can...
Our hotline, which is always available for enrollment issues, and is also our hotline for our ongoing parents to raise questions about transportation or anything that may come to their mind, is 313-240-4DPS. 313-240, the numeral 4DPS. That's 4377 for people who may not have those little letters still on their little numbers on their phone.
We're going to be talking throughout the day with individual teachers from individual schools and start learning about the specific programs. Now, from what I understand, though, you were talking about this pre-K program. DPS adding 25 new early learning classrooms to 14 sites, geographically spread across the entire city.
The fact of the matter is that even during times that we've had some enrollment challenges, we took a look at the numbers, and last year, in the beginning of the fall term, Detroit Public Schools actually had to turn away 521 4-year-olds due to putting them on waiting lists for our pre-kindergarten programs. So we took a look at some of the funding mechanisms and took a look at whether or not we just need to make an investment. There's the obvious research educationally about the importance of 0 to 5 education that has been covered much, but just from a purely business standpoint, does it make sense to have the pipeline closed or limited at the entry point to your educational enterprise? So we've opened new pre-K classrooms. There's actually 46 in total, including some that we've relocated from EAA schools and some charter schools as well, plus brand new schools. We'll be able to handle that waiting list. We expect that it would be the same number of students and more this year, enrolling about 3,500 students at the 4-year-old level. We call that universal pre-K for all children who are eligible based on income and other requirements within the city of Detroit.
Let's jump forward to high school students, and everyone is concerned with kids getting an education, and then with a comprehensive high school diploma, being able to be employed, quite frankly, or going on to school. But you have some new career academy programs.
It was actually the state of Michigan, Governor Snyder himself, and many of the leaders who approached Mr. Roberts and then Mr. Martin and said, you know, there are some very large public works projects planned in this area over the next 5 years. We're going to build a bridge across the river. We're going to build a train line up Woodward Avenue.
Yeah.
Some people are going to build some stadiums and some other things as well. Plus, there's the overall infrastructure and highway construction project. That's about 25,000 skilled trades jobs that are needed to be filled, and we'd like to be able to fill those with Detroiters who are capably trained. So we've worked to create a new 5-year career academy program. Basically, in 5 years, a high school student will get a high school diploma, an associate's degree from a local community college, a paid apprenticeship, training from one of the skilled trades unions, and they'll frankly walk into the workplace after those 5 years with a starting salary that I'm sure far exceeded yours or mine, or even those who may be getting business or law or other degrees at this point in time, because those are not just labor positions. I mean, those are engineers and technicians and computer technicians and all of those other fields that are necessary to fuel, you know, what amounts to building some very massive projects across Detroit over the next 5 years.
Pretty amazing and pretty impressive indeed. DetroitK12.org is where you can go find more information. Give a telephone call also to 313-240-4377. Talking here with Steve Wasko, Assistant Superintendent of Community Relations. And we're going to be ringing the bell here all day long and be talking to lots of different people. But thanks for getting us started here in the morning and giving us, this is a very impressive list of all of the things that are happening. And it's, you know, as a lifelong Detroiter and a graduate, all the way K-12, the Detroit Public Schools, this is great to see. It's very exciting for me personally.
Thanks, Dave. We'll be listening all day, and thanks for the opportunity to you and to RCJ.
Steve Wasko, Assistant Superintendent of Community Relations. Check it out. We'll be talking about it all day. 313-240-4377.